In this video, we will see the trigger. So you did an animation before, you did FPS before. So I put everything in this scene. We have this animated character. We saw that in a previous video. And I have an FPS. So I can go close the character and is animated. There is a loop on the animation. So what we want to do now is to start the animation only when we activate a trigger. So in this case, for example, it could be the guy don't move at all, and when you are close from this guy, it will start to be animated. So this trigger, we will use it typically, you go close from a door and the door could open automatically. Or perhaps in your assignment, you enter in a room and somewhere in the room something fall, or a light turn on or off, or some birds are flying. So you have an animation, and the goal is just to uh, activate this animation when you activate a trigger. So first you need, of course, a scene with an animation, and you need a scene with a FPS. So the first thing that I would like to show you, this is this noble craftsman that we saw in a previous video. If you remember, I had just to drag and drop his animation clip on this object. But actually, so perhaps his file or somewhere here, I forgot where is it, perhaps in character, the noble craftsman here. So if I open the source, we had this animation and I had just to drag and drop on the noble craftsman. But actually, when you do that, something is happening. What you will do, Unity will create what we call an animator. So animator will be a node who will animate the character. And this node could decide what animation it will start on this character. So here, this is what we will see. So again, every time you have an animation clip, you drag and drop on an object, immediately it will create this animator. So here, this animator is created here. Automatically, it will connect it to a controller, to an avatar, etc., etc. So let's check what is it. I will go in the animator window. You can find it in window, animation, and you have animator, okay? So me, I put it here. So then when I select this object, it will show me that. And this animator is very simple. You have this entry node so that it represents when you start the game, automatically it will do what there is after this entry, okay? And you see that the first thing that he will do, and the only thing that he will do so far, is activate this animation working, okay? So if I click on it, this is the animation that I created before, that I used before. The motion is working, so that is the animation clip. So I could select other animation, okay? So that normally you have already that. Okay, and when I play my animation, you can let your animator open and you will understand what's happening. So you see, he starts the animation and automatically entry is connected to working, and working is the only animation that he will play, and he will loop it because my animation was looped. Okay. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is to create a sphere. So I will create 3D object sphere. I will scale it, okay? And my object, so this object will represent the trigger area. So it means when I enter in this area, I want to activate the animation, okay? So that is the area. What I will do, I will turn off the mesh render, okay? And I will call it sphere trigger. Okay, so that we will work on this object later. Perhaps I can do something, yeah, very important. since this one is not an object that I will render, okay? So that's why I don't render it. And what I will do, I will click on is trigger. So this object will be the trigger of my scene, okay? I could have a few, could have more than one trigger, okay? And it doesn't need to be absolutely a sphere, it could be any object. Okay, so now what I will do, I will change the entry. So the entry by default is playing the animation. I don't want him to play the animation. So I will right click here. I will create a new state and it will be an empty state. So no animation inside. And I will call it nothing. Okay, so he do just nothing. And I want to tell him that it will be the first thing that he will do. Instead of playing this animation, I want him to do nothing. So I right click and set as layer default state. Okay, so now he will do that. So if I play my animation, you see he play this nothing state, and of course nothing is happening. Okay, so now I need to create, so you have read to proceed step by step, understand every step, because it's a little bit weird the first time, but after all the trigger use the same system. Okay, so the next thing that I need to do in my animator, I will go in the tab parameter. Okay, and I will create a boolean. A boolean, this is a value which is true or false, okay, or 0 and 1. Okay, and this boolean, let me check what name I wanted to give, because we will have a script later and we need to give exactly the same name. Yeah, this boolean, I will call it play anim. Okay, so me, I put my capital P, capital A. Okay, so this one will be a value. When the value is true, I want him to play the animation. When the value is false, I want him to play nothing. Okay, so it's like a button on and off for the animation. The next point is he will start by default with nothing. And now what I need to do, I need to create a connection to working. Okay, so I will right click, make transition to working. Okay, so I want him to start with entry, he start with nothing, and after I want him to do working, but under one condition, under that the condition that play anim is on. Okay, so here I will select this transition and there is no condition, so I will create a condition. I will say when, so I click on plus, there is only one condition in my list here. I will say when play anim is true, okay, I play this animation. Okay, so now if I play, nothing will happen. Okay, so you see it don't play working because the condition still off. If I turn it on, you see the animation is playing now. So now the next step is create a script. So this is perhaps the only script that we will do this here. Create a script to say that when we enter in this sphere, this play anim is on, okay? And then it will play this animation, okay? I hope you follow. So for that, I will need to create a script. So it's good to have in your asset, I don't know if you have already, to have a folder script, okay? If you don't have, create it. And I will right click, create, and I will go on script. Okay, so it's C# script. C# is a language that we use. Okay, and this one, I will call it trigger play anim. So trigger play anim. Okay, so I use the same orthographs that before, play anim with capital P, capital A. The orthograph is super important when you do scripting. Okay, so now I will open the script and it will open Visual Studio. If you don't have Visual Studio on your PC, it will ask you if you want to install it. You install it and you can log in with your Microsoft account, okay, your student account. So that this is a script. What we will do, we will just do copy and paste, okay, because the script is ready and this is the same script that everybody is using. I will change everything, delete everything, and this is that I will copy. Okay, so what's happening here? We have a public class trigger that's not so important for you. You don't need to know. Private animator, okay? So here we have a function. This function will detect if you enter in the sphere in the trigger sphere, okay? If you do so, it will write a message, enter the trigger, okay? So for now, this script is just a test to see if it can detect that we enter in the trigger, okay? So to be sure that your script win, you have to be you have to be sure that this script is called like that, like I did. Okay. So now you can save, Control S. You go back in Unity. We have this sphere, this is a trigger. We have the script, we have to connect them. So I just select my sphere trigger and I connect the trigger play anim. Okay. So now I play again. And again, I use escape so I can click on the console and I go back to my window. So here, let's see. Yeah. So you can see here, he wrote in the console, enter the trigger. So I will do it a few times. I will go out. I will enter and he write enter the trigger. So this script is just a test for now. Okay. Of course, what I want him to do something else. I want him to play the animation. So this thing was just a test. So now I will add this line. My animation controller set Boolean play anim true. So here you understand perhaps what we do. We will say that when we enter in the sphere, of course we still write on enter the trigger, but we will turn the Boolean play anim to true. Okay. So then if we do that, in theory, it will play the animation. But I need to do a last thing. If I select this script here, if I select the sphere trigger, you see there is now my animation controller. So here I have to say what will be under control. So this is the Noble Craftsman animator. So I will move that here. Okay. Now if I play, I will just show you the console. Okay, so you can see the information. I move and it starts to do the animation when I enter the sphere. I will show you again. This time I will show you the animator. Okay, you see, he plays the animation, nothing. And when I will enter the sphere soon, now he play the animation and non-stop. So after I can go away, he's still playing. Okay, so what I could do, I could also tell him that when we go out of the sphere, Okay, it don't play the animation anymore. So I will copy this line for you. So this one is no more on trigger enter. This is on trigger exit. I will just write in the console a message, exit the trigger, and the Boolean this time will not be true, it will be false. So I save. So here we entry, it go to nothing, it go after to working, but I have to create a link to say that after working, it could go back to nothing. So I will right click, make a transition to nothing. And here I will say that it will go back to nothing if my play anim is false. Okay, I play again, it do nothing, I enter the sphere, is working, I go out, it do nothing. So when I play it, you can see the play anim boolean change here. So here you see it's off. If I go inside, it's on. If I go outside, it's off. Okay. So yeah, it was how we do a trigger. So I know it's a little bit difficult at the beginning, but just follow step by step. You see, sometimes I forget to do something, but you can also take note or keep this video with you. Just to summarize, you have your animated character. This animated character has an animator here, okay, with your animation connected, with your animated clip connected. When you select this character, you will go in the animator, okay? And here you will decide what he do. So he could do 10 different animations depending of the trigger, okay? So here, first, he go to nothing. After, there is a connection to working, but he will execute working only if the play anim is true, okay? After, he do working, and after doing it one time, if at any time play anim is false, then it will go back to nothing. And you can see, if you're animator, you will see it do also a nice transition between working and nothing, okay? And of course, the missing element is you need the sphere, and this sphere need to be a trigger and need to have this script, okay? You can check a lot of tutorial, everybody use the same script. So this script, you don't need to know scripting, you just copy that. And if you use exactly the same orthograph for the Boolean, okay, called play anim, and the name of the script, it will work. Okay, so you just copy that. I will copy this script for you, and normally it should work. Okay, so after you can apply it on any other animated object, any other trigger, and you can have more than one trigger, of course. Okay, so anyway, if you have some problem to do it, we will be here to help you. Thank you.